This is the Gutsy Health Podcast with Juanique and Tristan Roney. Hi, everyone. This is Juanique Roney.
Hey, everybody. This is Gina Warfel.
This is Karalynne from Just Ingredients.
And we're giving you guys an extra bonus podcast this week because the three of us, we've put our heads together over the past few months and we want to bring something really, really special to you guys this year. Tools to help you empower you in your healing journey. But before we go into that, the three of us kind of want to talk about problems that we see in our healthcare system and how we have seen it over the years fail you, fail us. Karalynne, can you tell people a little bit about what got you into your seat, how it failed you, and why you were so motivated to help everyone on from the podcast to Instagram to everything that you're doing, like making your own clean ingredients? Can you remind listeners like how you got here?
Yeah, so I battled severe depression about 15, 16 years ago, and I knew that something had happened in my body. I hadn't always dealt with depression. And so this was something new. I mean, it was a couple of years of battling it, but I thought my body can heal this. I know it can. I just don't know how. I knew that the body could heal when you broke a bone, if it had the right tools of a cast, or if you scraped your finger, that scrape always healed itself. So I knew it could do it, but I needed to know how. So I went to doctor after doctor for 2 years and none of the doctors could help me. They all would just tell me, well, we don't really know for sure. And granted, this was 15, 16 years ago. Now, hopefully your doctors don't say this, but there are some that might. And they would say, the only thing we can do is put you on an antidepressant. And I would say, well, will that heal me? And they would say, no, it won't heal you, but it will help you. And I was like, okay, well, I'll take it then because I need help, but what will heal me? And so I got so frustrated just going to doctor after doctor and no one could tell me how to heal. And so then finally I did find a doctor who practiced more of a natural type medicine. And she was like, yeah, I can help you heal. And these are the steps that you need to do. And I went on a long 18-month, almost 2-year journey with her healing. That just led me to want to help others because I know there's so many people out there that want to heal, but don't know that they can heal. And the resources aren't really easy to find to know how to heal. And so just a few years ago, I started my Instagram to try to help people know that there is healing out there and that it's possible.
Well, and what you do is you show people how easy these changes can be, right? Like it's just little bits here and there, like factor this out for this and switch this out for this. I love how you make it so simple. Did it feel simple to you in the beginning, or did you feel like you had so much to unpack? And as you were working with this doctor for 2 years, was it really overwhelming and you had to figure out how to make it more simple?
So it was very overwhelming at first. And I'm the type of personality that if it's too overwhelming, I'm just going to throw my hands up in the air and say, I can't do it. That's why on my site, I try to show really easy, doable, simple steps because I said to my doctor, just give me like one thing at a time to work on. I can't work on 10 things at a time.
Right.
And so she did go just really basics with me, first introducing some supplements and then introducing some food changes. And it wasn't a huge list of everything at once. And so that's why I try to tell people a lot of our daily choices affect our health. And some of those daily choices can be so simple, just from adding in more veggies or switching to a better body lotion or different beauty products that don't have the endocrine disruptors in them. I try to teach people it's baby steps. It's not, you're going to change everything overnight to heal. Healing is a long process, but it's a really rewarding process as well.
Exactly. Gina, how have you seen, because it just seems like Karalynne mentioned for 2 years, she went from doctor to doctor to doctor. She couldn't find any help anywhere. How have you seen that in your circle of practice?
I think that my own experience also really changed the way that I do things in my practice because about probably 3 years ago, I really started to notice my health declining and it was really confusing. Didn't really know what was happening in my body. I felt like I had a lot of inflammation and I had so much like anxiety and my just neck pains and rashes and terrible cravings and just insomnia and all these things. Like my health started really changing and I was so confused. My hormones were all over the place. And I knew that like things were not going down a good path and I just did not understand my body. And so I basically started like chasing all these different symptoms. And so I started taking different supplements for each symptom. I was trying to take things that are known to balance out hormones. And I was, taking these different things for skin health and all these different combinations of stuff chasing symptoms. And as soon as it might make a little bit of a difference, it seemed like I was just constantly making a little progress and then going right back. And so I knew I was just like doing Band-Aid type work and just feeling so overwhelmed. I'm sure there are so many people who resonate with that, where they have all of these symptoms and they feel like they're managing it with handfuls of supplements and not really making any progress. And so what's interesting is when I saw that roadmap that you created on the order of healing, I was like, oh my gosh, I resonate with that so much, because that is the process of what actually moved the needle for me. Not even knowing about your roadmap, it was so much aligned with what I did. So when I started healing my body, the most important piece was actually changing my mindset around healing. And I had never considered that before. Had this mindset around like, my body is waging a war against me. And like, it was this really frustrating fight. And I see so many clients who are in the same place of like, my body hates me. I'm so frustrated. And it just doesn't create a conducive environment for your body to heal. You're not sending the message that it's safe and that you're nurturing it for healing. And so that was like a key piece that actually started everything. And then I started looking at like my mitochondria and am I taking care of those to be able to actually make sure that my body is getting powered and fueled like the way that it should, starting to go through and look at things like my adrenals and my hormones. And it just made things so much easier when I focused on what is the most important thing right now that will change everything else, instead of being confused and not understanding my body and chasing all these symptoms. A really similar process of how I like to try to help people, because I see so many people who are maybe seeing their doctor and they're just giving them a medication to cover up a symptom. That's what my doctors tried to do when I really needed help. And I had this rash all over my body. And instead of looking at like the source of inflammation, they were like, we're not going to do further testing. We're just going to give you a cortisone cream to suppress it. Like the one thing that my body was like speaking to me. So out of that frustration, it's like, let's look deeper at like, what is the probably number one thing or the first things that could maybe influence everything else and make healing so much easier.
Right. What I'm hearing from both of you guys is it's really hard for people to get answers. It's confusing, it's overwhelming. And then when they start to find answers, it's still confusing and it's still overwhelming because there's just all this information dumping and people can't really figure out who's right and who's wrong. And people like information is conflicting and we don't even understand that information sometimes. It's beautiful that I have you two ladies who have had health issues and have figured it out and made it simple. And you're sharing that with others. My story is fairly similar where I had Graves' disease, but the difference, and I don't want to say the difference between me and you guys is I grew up in a household where my mom actually taught me about health and she actually taught me that my body can heal. So when doctors started telling me, no, you can't heal, I was like, that's ridiculous. I know I can. And then I just figured it out by myself because I was given tools from young. I was given programs from young. And then when my husband got cancer and doctors are like, he doesn't have much time, I was like, you're actually wrong. Like there's so much we can do. Information is out there. Smart people are out there. And they are helping people help themselves heal. And isn't it so great that one, that we know that there's answers out there, but two, it's confusing. Everyone's confused. People are overwhelmed. The three of us, what we would like to tell you guys today is we've all kind of come up with the plan. We've all been on our own platforms, helping people in our own ways, but we kind of want to combine our superpowers together. And we want to help fix this problem of overwhelm and confusion. Because all three of us, I think we can say we love educating. We love helping people heal themselves, but there needs to be more. We do the podcasts, we do our Instagrams, to selling our own products, to doing coaching, etc. We have some tools, but there's a missing piece. And we want to talk to you guys about that missing piece. Karalynne and I, a year ago, before COVID hit, do you remember that, Karalynne?
Yep. I do. I came to you and I'm like, we have got to do a conference or something together.
And what was so beautiful back then was we were like, yes, but who should our third person be? We were like, there should be a third person. Who should it be? And none of us could we couldn't come up with a person, right?
Exactly.
And so Go ahead.
It took all COVID to figure out who the third person was.
The thing is, like, we didn't even know the third person until like the end of that year. I feel like everything was in flow. Everything was working. We both knew we're like, there's a third person. There's a conference. We don't know the timeline because of COVID and the world ended. What are we going to do? But we waited, and I met Gina at the end of 2020, and I went back to Karalynne, I think in January, and I'm like, Karalynne, I think it's time. Let's do this. And then, you know what was so funny? This is hilarious. Karalynne and I were at Redmond having lunch, and I said, okay, this third person, her name is Gina Werfel. She's a dietitian. Do you remember what you said to me?
I probably said, oh no.
That's okay, because when I met Tristan, he was like, oh, so what do you do? I'm like, I'm a dietitian. He goes, oh, okay. I'm like, wait, what?
Better explain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell people? Because here's the thing. Karalynne and I, and a lot of people think we're quacks. Like we're making up information because we're not the doctors. We're not the dietitians. We're not the people with the big fancy smancy degrees, right? And so, Karalynne, what's been your experience with dietitians? Do you want to share that with people, or do we want to move on?
Okay, I love dietitians and what they do. Don't get me wrong.
Karalynne loves everyone. But
some dietitians don't like to agree with me because they don't think ingredients really play a role. It's more like the fats, the proteins, the big macros, things like that.
Macros versus micros.
The tiny little ingredients should play a role. So I should just zip my mouth and be quiet. When you said she was a dietitian, I just had to figure out if she was one like that or if she was a dietitian that actually appreciated the ingredients also, because there are a lot of dietitians who do love what I do and do agree with the ingredient aspect. So that was just my first response.
Yeah, I think the whole idea around credentials is actually a really big problem, because I have met some really incredible, phenomenal dietitians who are so smart, but then there are so many who are like, well, if you're not a dietitian, you can't give this advice. You're not qualified. And I've also seen some dietitians who get the basic level of like, you know, your macros and very basic level education, and they don't continue to learn and read the research of what's out there and consider things beyond the basic training. And they're definitely not as competent as I've met some so brilliant people who do look at research. They do actually pursue educating themselves, even if it's not at a traditional university and dietetics route, like the both of you, and who are so incredibly qualified. And then you have some who are not dietitians who are also not qualified. And I think that it's just so much more than just saying, if you're a dietitian, you're qualified, and if you're not, you're not. I think that there's so much misunderstanding around that.
There really is. And, you know, and I hope like one day, because I think everyone can get educated around research. You do not have to go to school to be a researcher. And unfortunately, a lot of our platforms, women platforms, mom platforms, like people in those circles don't feel like they can have an opinion, right? Because they're not, and I put in here air quotes, educated. And that's such a lie. You are entitled to be the expert in your own body. You don't need to have fancy letters under your name. In fact, that's like, you should have been taught this in school without letters, because this is information that everyone should be empowered on. And that's information around their bodies, and that's information around their healing. Like everyone's entitled to healing, and everyone's entitled to knowing the steps on how to heal. But there's nothing like that out there, which is why the three of us have put our heads together this year, and we want to do a summit. We're so excited. You guys, what happened on April 10th? We don't have to wear masks here, right? Is that correct?
Correct.
So let's get together. Like, we're so excited to put together a summit for all of you guys. Karalynne, do you want to tell listeners a little bit about the summit? And each one of us can talk about what we're going to be talking about at this summit, because we want to give you a healing roadmap, and we want to teach you in one day how to heal yourself, the tools to heal yourself, the ingredients to heal yourself, the supplements to heal yourself. We want to teach you how to be an expert. Karalynne, do you want to tell people a little bit about the summit?
Yeah, so it's going to be middle of June on a Saturday, and it's going to be a conference or a summit that when you walk away, you will feel empowered that you can do something about your own health, that you can make choices to begin a healing journey and to make your life just full of health and so that you can live your best life possible. But what I love about the three of us doing it together is that we're all bringing different aspects to this summit. So like Gina's going to talk a lot about the mindset and the energy around choosing to be healthy and getting on that path and things like that, where I know you're going to talk a lot of the science part of it. Juanique is going to talk a lot of the science part of it. And then I'm going to do a lot of how you actually implement that in your home and how that works with a spouse or with kids, or if you've got more than just yourself in your home, how to implement some of these strategies. It is going to be an amazing summit that seriously, you'll walk away just feeling so empowered.
Yes. And you guys, we want you to be able to take all these pieces that we've been talking about over for years and years and years, and we want to put it in an order for you. And we want to make it attainable that you can soak this all in and walk away from this conference feeling so knowledgeable about your body, so knowledgeable about your healing, and so knowledgeable about the tools that you can use to heal yourself, from your foods to your stress to supplements. It's going to be so beautiful. And the date for that, you guys, is going to be June 19th. And it's going to be like a half-day summit. It's going to be here in Draper. If you want to...
and virtual.
And virtual. Yes, you guys, which is so cool because we wish we could meet all of you, but there's so many people around the country that won't be able to come in. So you can buy an in-person ticket. Tickets are limited, but you can buy an in-person ticket or watch it online. And you can watch it from anywhere around the world, across the USA, without having to come into Draper, Utah. So you guys, that's going to be June 19th.
And
Go ahead.
What's the coolest thing too is like, we were so excited of like, we have so many great strategies to really help people heal their body. And when you were telling me about this roadmap, that you made it so easy for people to know, like, what is the easiest way to go through healing my body? I was like, Juanique, how do we take this and get this to people and let them experience it and get confident in their bodies? And how do we do that so that they can experience me and you and Karalynne's knowledge, but in the most affordable way possible?
Absolutely.
And so that was so cool to be able to bring together the most valuable things that we teach and share it with people in the most valuable, affordable way possible, so that they walk away feeling really confident they know what to do and they know their bodies better.
What I wanted to add to that is that we want you to be able to take this information and apply it to your life. So when you are talking with your doctors, you know exactly what you're talking about. You know exactly what you are aiming for without feeling lost in the dark and like blindfolded and just shooting anywhere. We want you to have direction. We want you to have purpose and an agency in your healing journey. So let's say you come to our summit and you learn all of these incredible things and you feel so much more empowered about how to heal your body and the roadmap to healing your body. And then you go and talk to a doctor and they say something that contradicts what you've just learned. Well, now you have knowledge and tools and you can feel empowered to maybe rebuttal your doctor and be like, actually, I would like to start here first. Can we look at these areas first? So our goal is to help you feel so educated about your body and not completely lost and overwhelmed. You will have direction. You will have purpose. You will have a roadmap to your healing. And Karalynne, what did you want to say about that?
I was just agreeing with Gina that I love that we are going to give you guys a roadmap at this conference. It's not just going to be a bunch of like all this jumbled info. It is really laid out, organized with, like I said, plan, with the science behind it, with implementations of how to do it at home. So it is a really nice, organized summit that you're going to be able to attend and learn from.
And if you guys want a little bit more details, you can go to our website. It's all the information will be in the show notes. Ticket sales are going to be launched May 3rd. So make sure that if you sign up early in the first 2 weeks, you will get a $50 discount off of in-person tickets, and there will be a discount for the virtual tickets as well. So make sure you are getting that discount. You're signing up in the first 2 weeks. But another thing that I wanted to say about that is you want more information about the kind of data that we will be sharing. Go back to Karalynne's very first podcast that she released, where her and I kind of talk about the order of healing. The three of us, Gina, myself, and Karalynne, we're going to deep dive into that order of healing. We're going to give you so many incredible tools so that you know exactly where you need to focus on that order of healing, where you need to go back to. Literally an entire day with the three of us teaching you that order of healing, and not only how to navigate it, but how to implement it in the kitchen. And I love, Karalynne, that those are the tools you're going to give people. You're going to say, okay, for mitochondria, you need to eat these foods. You can cook them this way. For gut healing, you need to drink bone broth and you need to eat a lot of these foods. And this is how you cook them. And this is how you prep them. And these are the ways you can put them in your meals. Very, very practical, everyday skills are going to be given to you, taught to you so that you can use that for your health and your children's health and your loved one's health. Like, you guys, we have planned this to benefit every aspect of your life in ways that are achievable and simple and what should be done on a daily basis. Because if it's not simple, then it's not going to be done. So we want these tools that you're going to learn to be really simple and applicable for your daily use. We're so excited to learn with you guys and teach you June 19th. So sign up for your tickets, look in the show notes. It's called the Nourish You Summit, you guys. We hope to see you there and we love you and we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.